In this video, we'll be covering RTK Source Configuration with both SiteMetrix Grade and GradeMetrix. RTK Source Configuration is an app used to configure the type of correction source you'll be receiving for either your machine or rover. When we go into RTK Source Configuration, we have 3 tabs on the left. The first is Ntrip. This will be used if you want to connect to a VRS network. Internal radio will be used if you want to use the internal UHF radio for the machines or the internal UHF and spread spectrum radio in the rover. You'd use external radio if you had an external radio connected to the base and you want to configure the baud rate. First, we'll start off in Ntrip. You'll see I already have a caster created, and I've added it so it'll always be saved to this device, and then I don't have to input any of the information again. Just like any VRS network, you'll need an IP address and a port and a username and password. One thing to note is we do not display the specific amount of characters the password contains. If you watch, I'll type in 5 characters, and when I press enter, it'll display a different amount. So just keep that in mind when troubleshooting. If all my above caster information is correct, I can choose download source table and pick the source that I want from the drop-down list. If this is a true VRS network, you'll want to check on send position to caster and leave the default at 10 seconds. If the machine or rover is only going to be using Ntrip, you can check on auto reconnect, and this will automatically start the caster from a machine startup or the data collector startup. Once you have all your settings configured, just tell it to connect to caster, and you should see a transfer rate coming across telling you that you're receiving data from the VRS network. Under the internal radio tab, we'll have 3 different menus. Basic configuration is used to select a channel you already have configured. You can change the protocol. We suggest if you're using a C631 receiver with the machine that you leave it on either SATEL or PACRES4 FSK to get the full amount of satellites from all constellations. Channel configuration is used to input a specific frequency that you want to connect to. And notice this is also where your bandwidth setting is. The final tab is external radio, and this is used to connect an external radio to either receive or broadcast off a base, rover,